Okay, guys, we have seen last time that how you can really do a replication control, which is nothing but the main purpose of that to create multiple copies of pods for scalability. And then we have seen that there is another feature replication set RC, which is nothing but new updated way of replication control. And then comes deployments. Now there are two type of deployment, blue green deployment, and then there is a rolling update. So deployment, I mean, the basic purpose of deployment is mostly to scale up or scale down. So for so basic purpose always for this deployment is to when there is a new version of the application, what you do, you need to roll out that new version. For example, you're working with version 1, your developer team has come up with the idea that let's say like that version 2, they have written more code how you can deploy your stuff. So let's maybe, okay, we don't have any draw, okay, we have draw. So for example, this is a big container here, and in this container actually we have, for example, 3 ports, right? Now each port or could be up to n ports in the cluster, right? But the thing is that this whole is working on version 1 of the app, and let's say like that developer has updated a lot of style, many things, new features, and now they want to just create this copy. First thing, which is blue green thing, for example this is blue, and let me make this green. For example, here is our green new ports. Normally what you do, conceptually you create an exact same copy of the services in the cluster, and this is version 2. Now you check it, you test it in the production environment. This is production environment already, right? This is production already, and you test it, you trial it, and when you are satisfied, you have services structures, and your services are running, deployment services are running with node port or any services node port, or with the cluster IP, whatever you can have. And you just, when you're finished and you're happy, you just point out your node port or IP from this cluster to this cluster, and with the fraction of seconds, or within the fraction of the seconds, your deployment is pointing out from the version 1 to version 2. It's very simple, great. So well, technically this is very good way, because the moment you're just pointing out is just a command with the blue green deployment, which means that it is just pointing your services IP address to the new cluster IP or node port IP, and then everything is good. Is fraction of the seconds, and it is great way to actually test stuff. But there is one problem with that. The problem is that normally you have three environment. For example, you have production environment, you have test environment, you have pre-prod, and whatever. You have normally not one application. You have always like microservices with for one single services you have 10 different apps and 10 different containers or pods for one app. You need to create a multiple high availability with 3 replicas. Now you have 30 pods, and if you want to create more replicas, it's going to be more, problematic. So yeah, that's the stuff. That's everything is great here. You have that pod and everything worked great, but over the passage of time, you need like 30 to 40 different containers or pods are running in the cluster, which somehow you need to have that resources in place for test and trial. Maybe this test and trial goes for 1 week, who knows, 1 month. That's one problem. And for one whole month, you are creating this services without any reasons, and that if this is GPU, let's say like that, it is LLM or any AI sources. The AI sources normally need GPUs, and these GPUs were running on the cloud. So just for this update purpose, might be you cost like 10,000 or 5,000 extra bucks just for the rollout. And imagine that your rollout is very often. You're from version 1 to version N. In 1 year, you have up to 10 versions. So if you sum up for the whole years, might be 40 to 30,000 euros you have paid extra for just rollout. Why? Because you have this model. So that's how this is the implication, and this is very problematic. And for that purpose, the people, the practitioners, come up with another good idea, and this idea is rolling update. Rolling update is saying that, well, you're within the space of something. You're here. This is the big cluster running your pods, and there are multiple pods running here. And for example, this much replicas, and this is on version 1, version 1, version 1, v1, v1. And now, for example, you have same copy of version 2 for that container, which is here version. This is version 2. This is version 2. And what that suggests? That suggests that you don't replace all these container one by one. Rather, you just put this container off. All the sources and meanwhile is running. All the application features are running to the customer on the version 1. Maybe like you have 100 customer, and out of 100 customer, 50 customer are having version 1, which is also working great, cool, and 50 or 10 or whatever customer has meanwhile version 2, because you one by one you replace this with this, and one by one you replace this, and one by one you replace this with version 2. And what happen is that in that sense, you don't have to first create whole copy, test it, run it. You just test one stuff here outside of might be your environment, and when you're happy, you just put into the cluster one by one, and that's how you can have more less cost out of maybe 40 just for rolling update. Might be you just 10,000, or you reduce cost significantly. Might be for testing you still incur some cost, but in the end, that is actually something called rolling update. So we are going to today check that how you do this. Let's see that how you can do this. Let us first go here, and this is deployment folder of the Kubernetes. We always use this repository. So here is nothing. API version, we always can get API version with API resource manager. We just kubectl get API sources, and we get these, and we get everything, and meta sources, everything is here, and in the specs you says that number of replicas is please 10, minimum ready second, I mean this is just 45 second when you just get into this. Here is the type, here is the rolling type. This is the strategy which says that this exact strategy you want to use. You can say here blue green, you can say here rolling update, and maximum Maximum unavailable one means that you take one. Okay, you take actually one container out and you eliminate it, and then you actually put it there. Maximum surge means that in one time you can take two actually out of rack and replace with that. So this is just the parameters of your rolling update.